I purchased my KitchenAid Pasta Extruder a few years ago, and I put it away, and life got in the way and I did not get to use it. So I thought I would share with you my experience. So here are the instructions and a little cookbook, which I haven't even looked at yet. And on the inside now is the extruder. This is the main part. It's pretty heavy, and it's made in Italy, which is really good. And then it's got the little cutting gear on the bottom. That's how you're going to cut your pasta off once it extrudes. There are 6 templates, and each one of them is a different shape for pasta, and I want to make rigatoni. This is an important tool here, and you'll see what we do with it later. It also has a little cleaning tool, and this is to get the clogged up pasta later on out of your little templates. It's really great. It works wonderful. This comes with really good instructions on how to use it and warnings so that you don't hurt yourself, and how to put this together. And these are all the shapes that you can make. And here is the recipe, and you have to follow it because it makes a drier dough than a typical pasta machine. So I have 4 eggs, and I've really got to measure it in something that shows millimeters, because if your eggs aren't large enough, you might need to add water, which I did, and they want you to do 207 millimeters. So you just fill it up with water and you go a little bit above the 200. Also make sure it has its own plug when you plug it in. So now I'm doing about 3.5 cups of flour, and they ask that you sift it in 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm starting to mix it with my beater, but then I change over to the dough hook. I guess it's important to do that. I really found the dough to be so dry, I just couldn't imagine that I could do anything with it. So I dumped it out, and I knew I was in a little bit of trouble. I had to add some water to it. But you have to be careful because, as I mentioned, this dough has to be really dry. So I put in a tablespoon and tried things out, and it didn't quite work. And I added another 2 tablespoons altogether. And I would say don't go too far beyond this, because once again, if your dough is too soft, you can't get it through the extruder. So knead it really well, the best that you can. I'm getting a cookie sheet ready, and I'm going to put some semolina flour on it. I do this all the time when I make pasta the regular way. All right, so now it's time to put the attachment on. Make sure you tighten it really well. So now I have this instrument that I'm going to use to take off the bottom where the template is for the pasta. I didn't change it out for the rigatoni, so I'm doing it now. It's good to do this a little ahead of time. And there's the auger that's coming out, and that's what's going to churn your pasta dough, but it's removable. And there's the template. That was for something else, but I want to remove it, and I want to put in the rigatoni template. See how easy that is? Put that auger right back in, place it into the extruder again, and then make sure that you really tighten it up with that instrument they give you. It has to be really tight. The instructions tell you to form walnut-sized balls of dough. So mine are a little bit too big, I think. But anyway, I'm doing that ahead of time. And now I'm going to drop 3 of them in at a time. And then I'm going to use that pusher. It's called a combo tool pusher or whatever. I looked it up. And push that dough in a little bit. And look at what's happening. Rigatoni's coming out. And now I slide that cutting tool over, and it cuts the rigatoni any length I want. So there they go. And it took me a little over an hour to do all of these. This is the first time, so, maybe next time. So I'm boiling them up in some nice salted boiled water, and I cooked them for about 4 or 5 minutes, and they were delicious, but I do think that cooking them for a little bit more would have been better. They were pretty firm. These homemade rigatoni were a little bit thicker than the box variety, so maybe cooking them about 2 more minutes would have been great. But they were actually just fine. So make sure you always stir your pasta up with your sauce. That's what they do in Italy, and so it coats every piece of pasta. So time to try this. I can't wait. I'm so excited and so proud of myself for doing this. I'm not a very technical person. So now's the time to see whether this was all worth it. It sure looks good. It smells good. Let's try homemade rigatoni with our KitchenAid Pasta Extruder. Yep, I could have probably cooked this one more minute, but there's just something about it that's so different than something that you get out of a box. So was it worth it? I think this was my first time and I worked out all the bugs, as you could see. And I would say for special occasions, this would be wonderful. I think I would love to try the bucatini setting and maybe a couple of the others. But yeah, I would say if you have the patience and you're really into fresh pasta and you don't feel like buying it at the store, it sure didn't cost that much to make. If you buy one of these and you make this, please send me a picture. I would love to see it. Thanks for watching.